Something big is moving in Foxborough right now, and this is way more than a routine off-season shuffle. One move just changed the entire heartbeat of the offensive line. Another could quietly become the kind of signing that saves Drake May from living under pressure all season. There is also a new path for the pass rush after a superstar dream slipped away. And then there is the blockbuster wide receiver storyline that still has Patriots fans staring at the screen asking the same thing. Are they really about to make a move this bold? So let me ask you right out of the gate, Pats Nation. Is this front office building something real, or just patching holes and hoping it holds? Smash that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because the biggest truth in this whole story is not just about who they add. It is about how they are choosing to build around Drake May. The first shock hit the offense right in the middle. Garrett Bradberry is out. The Patriots traded their starting center to the Bears for a 2027 fifth-round pick. And even if that does not sound like a headline that should shake the room, trust me, it does. Bradberry started every game last season. He brought stability, communication, and veteran presence to a unit that desperately needed all three. Guys like that do not just leave a lineup. They leave a ripple effect behind them. And that ripple effect is exactly where this gets interesting. This move practically clears the runway for Jarrod Wilson to slide back to center, which many people already believed was his natural long-term spot anyway. Mike Vrabel already hinted that Wilson kept preparing at center even while playing left guard. That is not random. That sounds like a staff laying the groundwork before making the switch official. In other words, this may not be a reaction. This may have been the plan the whole time. But here is where the pressure really kicks in. If Wilson moves inside, then left guard becomes a serious issue. And for a team trying to protect a young quarterback, that is not some side note. That is the kind of detail that can make or break a season before Halloween. Ben Brown showed he could hold up in stretches. There are developmental names in the room. But if New England thinks it can just reshuffle bodies and call it solved, that is a gamble. And Patriots fans know exactly how dangerous bad protection can get when a young quarterback is trying to grow. Now, from a front office angle, the trade absolutely makes sense. Bradberry was entering the final year of his deal. The Patriots clear real cap space, add another future draft asset, and give themselves more flexibility moving forward. On paper, that is smart business. But football is not played on spreadsheets, and that is where the emotional side of this hits. Bradberry was not just a starter. He was leadership. He was experience. He was one of those steady voices that matters when things get loud. After Stephon Diggs already left the building, this is another respected veteran walking out the door. So the question gets louder. Are the young guys ready to take over not just the jobs, but the responsibility that comes with them? And that is exactly why the next development feels so important. Because right when the Patriots created a new opening up front, the market handed them a possible answer. Brock Hoffman suddenly becoming available might not be the flashiest story of the week, but this is the kind of move real teams make before everyone else catches on. Hoffman has experience at center, left guard, and right guard. He has stayed healthy. He is only 26. And for a team that has struggled with offensive line depth and flexibility, that kind of profile should have New England paying very close attention. This is where the conversation gets spicy, because some fans are always going to want the glamorous name, the massive splash, the player who breaks the internet. Hoffman is not that guy. He is not the move that dominates sports talk all week. But you know what wins in December? Reliability, versatility, players who let coaches adjust without the entire structure collapsing. If Jarrod Wilson really is moving to center, then Hoffman becomes the type of signing that gives this coaching staff breathing room. He could stabilize one spot, provide insurance at multiple others, and keep the Patriots from walking into the draft desperate and boxed in. That matters more than people realize. Once a team gets desperate, mistakes happen. Reaches happen. Panic happens. A player like Hoffman could help New England attack the draft with discipline instead of fear, and that is a huge difference. Still, there is tension here too. Versatility is great, but it is not the same thing as dominance. If the Patriots view Hoffman as the final answer to every problem up front, that is dangerous. If they view him as a smart, high-value piece in a larger plan, then this could be one of those moves fans appreciate more and more as the season gets closer. And while the offense is trying to find balance, the defense might be staring at a chance to get mean in a hurry. Because yes, missing on Max Crosby hurts. There is no way around that. Watching a superstar pass rusher get moved while another contender lands him is the kind of thing that stings, especially when the Patriots were seen as a possible fit. But once the dust settles, there is another side to that story. Maybe New England never wanted to pay that kind of price in the first place. Maybe the front office looked at 2 first-round picks going out the door and decided that was just too rich. And honestly, that might end up being the smart call. Why? Because sometimes the best pivot is not the loudest one. If Jonathan Grenard is really available for a day 2 pick, then the Patriots should be all over that conversation. No, he is not Crosby. He does not carry the same star power. He is not the name that instantly wins the headline battle. But this is not a red carpet contest. This is about affecting quarterbacks, collapsing pockets, and making life miserable for opposing offenses. And Grenard can absolutely do that. That is what makes this such an intriguing path. New England can still add serious juice to the pass rush without emptying the vault. Pair a healthy Grenard with Christian Barmore and Milton Williams inside, and suddenly this front could start looking nasty. The pocket shrinks faster, the secondary gets help, the defense gets to play downhill. That is how you start changing games. That is how you start stealing possessions. And in a conference loaded with quarterbacks, that is not a luxury. That is survival. Of course, fans are going to split on this one too. Some will say if you really want to change the defense, go get the biggest shark in the water. Others will argue that Grenard at a lower price is exactly the kind of efficient aggression good teams use to build contenders. And that debate is fair. But here is the part New England cannot ignore. If a player like this is available at a manageable cost and the Patriots still do nothing, then what exactly is the plan? Because wanting to improve the pass rush and actually paying for the improvement are 2 very different things. Then comes the headline that refuses to die. A.J. Brown. This is the one that lights up every Patriots fan because it speaks directly to the dream. Give Drake May a real WR1. Give him the kind of receiver who changes coverages before the snap and bails out drives when everything gets ugly. Give the offense a true alpha. That is the fantasy. That is the ceiling changer. But then the asking price comes in, and suddenly fantasy slams into reality. Philadelphia reportedly wanted a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and a player. That is not just expensive, that is a king's ransom. That is the kind of price tag that tells the whole league the Eagles are not eager to move him unless someone completely loses their mind. And from Philly's perspective, that makes total sense. Brown is still a monster. He is productive, physical, explosive, and exactly the kind of receiver every young quarterback would love to have. The Patriots reportedly said that was too much. And honestly, they were right to say it. This team absolutely needs to help Drake May. It needs more firepower. It needs a difference maker on the outside. But there is a line between aggressive and reckless, and that package crosses it. If New England gives away that much for one player while the roster still has major needs elsewhere, the move could look amazing on a highlight reel and still leave the team incomplete where it matters most. That is where the fan base is going to battle over this. One side will say stars cost star prices, and if you have your quarterback, stop playing scared. The other side will say blowing up flexibility for one player is exactly how teams stay stuck in the middle. And both sides have a point. Because A.J. Brown would absolutely change the offense. He would make life easier on May. He would force defenses to adjust. He would bring a level of fear factor this passing game badly needs. But the most important detail in this whole saga might be this. The door is not fully closed. The Patriots were reportedly willing to listen if the Eagles lowered the price. That means New England is not out because it does not want the player. It is out because it refuses to get played. And that, right there, may be the biggest message of all. That is the payoff. The most important piece in this whole stretch of news was never just one name. It was the standard, the line in the sand. The Patriots are trying to build around Drake May, but they are also trying to do it without blowing up the roster structure in the process. Bradberry's exit created flexibility. Hoffman represents smart reinforcement. Grenard could be the aggressive but manageable swing. And Brown? Brown is the test, the dream move, the temptation, the one that tells everyone whether this front office knows when to push the chips in and when to walk away. So now the question lands right back on Pat's Nation. Are the Patriots building this the right way, with discipline, toughness, and long-term vision? Or are they still one truly transformative move away from becoming the team they need to be? Drop your answer in the comments, hit like, subscribe, and send this to another Patriots fan, because this offseason is starting to feel like one giant fourth quarter, and the next move might decide everything.